Well, hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Our Haunted Travels. I am your host, Shawn Donnelly.
And I'm your co-host, Marianne Donnelly.
On this episode, we have a treat for you, I guess you would call it.
Ooh, a treat.
We actually recorded most of this show live on location from Estes Park, Colorado. That's right, we're talking about the Stanley Hotel. Go ahead. Ooh. That's right. So a year ago, actually November of 2016, we traveled out to Colorado for one of Marianne's conferences, and were able to slip away for an overnight little trip, so to speak, up to Estes Park, and we had some fun up there.
We did.
That was a long day, Jack, though.
I had a lot of fun, though.
You had a lot of fun?
I did.
All right. So normally at this point in our show, I turn it over to Marianne, and she covers the history and the stories, and then she turns it back to me and covers paranormal claims. However, we actually did our segment, The Haunted Spotlight, live a year ago.
We did.
And I'm not going to make you do it again.
Oh, thanks.
We'll just use that video. That video is kind of boring, so instead of watching her read it, we're going to show you a little bit behind the scenes on a Haunted Spotlight, but then I'll show you some pictures over top of that video.
Nice.
Yeah. I do have to say something, too, about the videos that we're going to show you. You're going to hear me huffing and puffing in those videos, and I might be maybe slurring my speech a little bit and not be able to finish some sentences and that kind of stuff. I was not drunk, trust me.
Yeah, he doesn't drink.
No, it was very high in altitude, and as you could tell, I am a very big guy, and that doesn't work very well. It's the second time I've been out to Denver, and normally after day 3, I'm like, I want to go back to Ohio.
Yeah.
And top it all off, they had no water.
Right, and we were up in the mountains.
Yeah, we were 2,000 feet higher up than Denver, so normally what I do is I just drink a bunch of water is what they tell me to do, and that normally helps, but they were out of water. They didn't have
Stanley Hotel was out of water.
So I tried walking around with ice water, and that didn't last very well.
They didn't have any bottled water.
So I apologize ahead of time. You're going to hear me breathing in the videos, but that's why. So this is location number 1032.
Correct.
Do I have that right?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Okay,
yes.
The Stanley Hotel. So for the history and stories, I'm going to turn it on over to
us in the past.
Yeah. Actually, it's going to come back to me, and I'll handle the paranormal claims. So go ahead and watch this video, and we'll be right back.
From Panic D and Dark Shadow Ghost towards Shawn and Marianne Donnelly. They're with us tonight, and they're live on location with the infamous Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. They'll be joining us in just a few minutes because they've got a brand new episode of the Haunted Spotlight for us tonight. Pretty excited.
I know, I was going through withdrawals. I think we skipped a week with them, so.
We did. We were going to have them on last week for our 9th anniversary celebration and for Halloween. But when Shawn said they were going to be doing a tour out at Colorado at the Stanley Hotel, I was like, well, buddy, come on now. We've got to have you from the Stanley Hotel. So they're going to be on tonight with us. So pretty excited to talk with Shawn and Marianne tonight as they're live from the Stanley Hotel, the inspiration from the movie The Shining.
That's correct, yes.
So it'll be interesting to find out what they've experienced. Now, I know Shawn was telling us a little bit about altitude sickness, and I don't know if we want to hear about him experiencing that so much, but hopefully they're experiencing some hauntings and some spooky times out there at the Stanley this evening. So, yeah. And speaking of ta-das, let's jump over to Estes Park, Colorado, where we've got Shawn and Marianne standing by. Time once again to step out of the darkness from Dark Shadow Ghost Tours and Panic D. It's time once again for the Haunted Spotlight. Good evening, Shawn and Marianne. Welcome back to the show, and happy belated Halloween to both of you.
Hey, same to you guys, too. Hope you guys had a good time this year for Halloween. Get a lot of trick-or-treaters.
I didn't. We got like 12 trick-or-treaters, but that left me too much candy, and I got sick.
Oh, well, hey, that happens. It happens. How about you, Marie? Did you get a lot?
We don't get any trick-or-treaters, no.
So you just buy the candy for yourself like we do?
Right, so we buy the candy
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to stock up for thousands of trick-or-treaters, right?
You know it.
All right. Well, anyways, tonight, like Eric said, we are coming to you live from room number 410 at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. It is located at 33 Wonderview Avenue.
Actually, it's 333 Wonderview Avenue.
She's right. So you know what? It is open to the public, but I'll just turn it over to Marianne because she's right about everything, and and I know that. So here's history and some of the stories. Marianne.
All right. So this is Panic D 1032, as Shawn said, and it is the Stanley Hotel. Now, the Stanley Hotel is a Georgian hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. It's located within sight of the Rocky Mountain National Park and offers panoramic views of the Rockies. It was built by Freeland Oscar Stanley of the Stanley Steamer fame, and it was opened on July 4th of 1909, catering to the rich and famous, including Titanic survivor Margaret Brown. It was also hosted to John Philip Sousa, Theodore Roosevelt, the Emperor and Empress of Japan, and a variety of Hollywood personalities, including, of course, none other than Jim Carrey, who does not like this hotel. It freaks him out a little too much, but he won't tell us why. But the Stanley Hotel also hosted Stephen King, and it inspired him to write The Shining. But contrary to information sometimes published, Stephen King was actually living in Boulder at the time and did not actually write the novel in the hotel itself. Parts of the miniseries of the version of The Shining were filmed here, but the main original film was not. Although it was not used in that one, it was used in the miniseries for Stephen King himself. Now, the hotel and its surrounding rooms are listed on the National Register of Historic Places and is a member of the Historic Hotels of America. It's undergone multiple renovations through the years, retaining its historic character and grandeur. The property offers a variety of rooms and suites, including haunted rooms, which have a higher propensity for inexplicable, eerie happenings, and are also the Stanley's most requested rooms, of course. Now, the newly renovated lodge at the Stanley is a 40-room boutique hotel located adjacent to the main building and was originally used for housing bachelors in the early 1900s. In addition to a design and amenities that fit the refined traveler, the lodge is also ideal for corporate groups, within the library accommodating up to 75 people for a private banquet. The presidential cottage is located just steps from the main hotel and features 3 bedrooms, kitchenette, dining, and living room areas, and a private deck. 2 garden-level units can be open to the main cottage, creating an option for a 5-bedroom suite. They also have overlook condos, which combine the luxury of living with Mother Nature's magnificent landscape and are just minutes to shopping, dining, and entertainment. 1 and 2 and 3 bedroom townhomes are also available, sleeping 4 to 10 people, and have dining areas, family rooms, fireplaces, patios, and decks. Now, the Stanley also offers 14,000 square feet of meeting space, accommodating anywhere from 6 to 300 people, with modern-day amenities and a historic setting surrounded by majestic mountains. Today, it is managed by the Grand Heritage Hotel Group, and it was founded in 1989 by John Cullen. It is the renowned F.O. Stanley, however, who did have it built. In 1903, F.O. Stanley, co-inventor of the Stanley Steamer automobile, came to Estes Park for health reasons. He suffered from tuberculosis and was weak and underweight from the symptoms of consumption and had come west at his doctor's suggestion. Now, a doctor arranged for Stanley and his wife to stay in a cabin in Estes Park for the summer. Immediately, they fell in love with the area, and Stanley's health began to dramatically improve. 1 season in the refreshing climate of the Wild Valley was enough to restore his health, and he vowed to return each and every summer for the rest of his life. However, he and his wife Flora were used to the sophistication of the East Coast society, and the little community of Estes Park offered little to stimulate and challenge this multi-talented genius. They resolved to build a new grand hotel, the likes which might only be found in the resorts of the wealthy. Management of this establishment, they thought, would provide the diversion they desired. Construction then started on the Stanley Hotel in 1907. The main building, one of 11 originally built on 160 acres, was completed in 1909 for a sort of disputed cost. Some say it was $200,000 and others say it was $500,000. Of course, the $500,000 version may have included the other buildings, not just the main hotel building. Now, wood and rock were obtained from nearby mountains, and the hotel was built in the Georgian architectural style. It was originally painted a pale yellow color and had a red roof. Today, it still has the red roof, but it has been painted white. It was equipped with running water, electricity, in-suite bathrooms, and telephones. The only amenity that the hotel lacked was heat, which was not added until 1982, as the hotel was designed just as a summer resort. Now, it did require a lot of building materials. It required 455,000 lath, 36,500 yards of plastering, 100 yards of sand, 2,200 sacks of cement, a car of lime, 156,000 shingles, 25 miles of phone wire, 6 miles of gas and plumbing pipe, 345 acres of flooring, 20,000 pounds of paint, 40,000 feet of siding. It had 466 windows, 378 doors, and 289 rooms. And to build the structure, it required a whopping 596,718,916 nails. Now, the hotel was originally going to be called the Dunraven, the Hotel Dunraven, or the New Dunraven, but residents objected and requested it be called the Stanley Hotel. So why was Stanley going to call it Dunraven? Well, the hotel was built on land that he had purchased from the Irish Earl of Dunraven, and the Mount Earl had come to the area in 1872 while on a hunting trip, and he built a hunting lodge cabin and a hotel for his guests, and illegally homesteaded for up to 15,000 acres, and had an unsuccessful attempt to create a private hunting preserve. And the people back down in the valley just didn't like him because he tried to swindle the folks out of their land and money. Now, in 1909, when he officially opened the elegant Stanley Hotel, guests even had a staff of uniformed servants and a fleet of automobiles at their disposal, and a daily rate was $5 to $8 each day. Not what it is today, though. Today, it's $239 a night, unless you want to stay in one of the haunted areas with their ghost package. Then it's $350 a night. But you get a K2, a Stanley Hotel Squishy Ghost, and a red rum mug. I can't imagine you'd know where we're staying tonight. Anyways, in the 1970s, the hotel's splendor had faded and it had gained a reputation for being haunted. It might have continued to fade and eventually succumb to the wrecking ball if not for a visit by author Stephen King. A stay of one night here was enough to inspire his major work, The Shining, and a multi-million-dollar renovation has restored this 155 guest room hotel to its original grandeur. And the hotel stands today beautifully restored. And the hotel is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. Now, let's talk some ghosts. After a century of collecting spirits, the hotel has become renowned by specialists and experts in the field of paranormal investigation as being one of the nation's most haunted and active sites. The Stanley Hotel features a variety of rooms with high paranormal activity, including the famous Stephen King suite, number 217, where he apparently, in 1974, had a ghost visit him. Now, there was also the Hunter's Favorite Room, room 401, as well as 407, 428, and 1302. Anyways, countless guests have attested to eerie occurrences that cannot be discounted. Lights turning on and off, doors opening and closing, laughter, footsteps, shadows, drafts, and unexplainable chills that have cemented the Stanley stature as one of the most haunted hotels in America. And there have been a number of reported cases of ghostly activity in the ballroom as well, and kitchen staff have reported that they've heard a party going on in the ballroom, only to find it empty. People in the lobby have allegedly heard someone playing the ballroom's piano. Employees investigated the music, supposedly finding no one at the piano. Employees believe that that particular ghost is Freeland O. Stanley's wife, who used to be a piano player. In one guest room, people claim to have seen a man standing over the bed before running into the closet. This same apparition allegedly is responsible for stealing guest jewelry, watches, and luggage. Others report to have seen ghosts in their rooms in the middle of the night, simply standing in their room before disappearing. Now, who are the ghosts of the Stanley? Chief amongst the hotel's eternal guests are F.O. and Flora Stanley, who continue to go about the business of running their beloved establishment as though they were still alive. Flora's antique Steinway can be heard playing, of course, in the middle of the night, and Mr. Stanley has been captured in photographs surveying the goings-on in the billiards room, once his favorite place. Longtime staff can attest to at least 4 other spirits that regularly roam the halls, and those would be Lucy, Paul, Eddie, and Elizabeth, none of whom are mischievously playful personalities made the final cut in King's lore, but may be internal guests in the hotel. Elizabeth Wilson was the chief housekeeper who, during an early summer storm in 1911, was injured in an explosion as she was lighting an acetylene lantern in room 217, which was then the presidential suite, an L-shaped room that took up the space that now houses rooms 217 and 215. She survived with broken ankles, but to this day takes special care of 217's guests, possibly even King, who is also said to have encountered a young child during this stay, although there were no children visiting at the time. Now, guests have reported items moved, luggage unpacked, and lights being turned on and off on their own as well in that room. As far as Elizabeth's story goes, reportedly on the evening of June 25th of 1911, a thunderstorm cut the power and the hotel's guests were taken to the lobby, where the staff was charged with lighting back up acetylene gas lamps. There was an unknown gas leak, and the chambermaid Elizabeth entered room 217, lit a candle, and of course, since the gas at that time period didn't have any odors to them, we've added that later. As soon as she entered the room, there was an instant explosion. The massive blast destroyed 10% of the nearly 70,000 square foot hotel, its entire west wing. It was a compression explosion, and it actually put out its own fire. Otherwise, it would have probably burned down the whole building. However, the room located directly under 217 is where Miss Wilson's body crashed to. She suffered the broken ankles but recovered from her injuries, and of course, Mr. Stanley paid for all of her medical bills. She then came back and worked in the building for the remainder of her days. Now, in February of 2014, they did find pieces of wallpaper, drywall, and carpet from the hotel's infamous 217 in the bowels of the structure while the hotel's engineer was checking the air handlers. And the discoveries were peppered with brightly colored floral patterns in reds, pinks, and greens, and the carpet fragment is a grass green with red and blue details. Looking at a picture of room 217 before the explosion matched the materials to the original colors. Now, the concert hall is also a hot spot of paranormal activity, and Paul worked at the Stanley from 1995 to 2005. He died of a heart attack while en route from the hotel to the hospital after suffering chest pains. Known as a jack of all trades, his responsibilities were to enforce the hotel's 11 p.m. curfew. It was not uncommon to hear a faint, ominous "get out" after hours, although it's unclear if he would be so bold as to hush Flora Stanley, who is playing the piano. A construction worker standing on the floor just a few years ago believes that Paul was brazen enough to physically nudge him to the door after feeling arms pull him back, and Paul is also known to flicker flashlights of touring groups. Now, Lucy also wanders the concert hall, tampering with the lights and lifting spirits. She has been known to actively communicate with and answer questions from the staff and parapsychologists via flashlights, but her story and pre-death connection to the Stanley remain unclear. It is surmised that she was a runaway homeless woman who found refuge here. Whatever her story, she does sing melodious tunes, and the energy of the mood lightens whenever she lingers. Same is not so for Eddie, though, who was initially presented by a foul odor, earning the name Stinky Man. Apparently, he did not like the name, though, so he switched tactics and began to exude a more pleasant smell. His presence, however, seems to be the cause of discomfort, partially due, perhaps, to a life of hardship, according to visiting psychics and mediums. He has since lightened up a little bit, but he remains the resident prankster, and apparently he's a ladies' man and is often suspected of stroking the hair and kissing the cheeks of female guests. Eddie probably began visiting the Stanley just a few years ago and is not known to have a connection to the property. A myriad of phenomena not necessarily attributed to specific suspects are also reported through the property. Of course, you can hear children laughing and celebrations happening as mentioned before, and it's just a very exciting place where one of the staffers is quoted as saying, "We have more nights with activity here than without. It's a Disneyland for spirits." Shawn?
Okay, so in our database, we have 14 different claims recorded, and I think Marianne went over most of them, so I'm not going to repeat them. However, we are getting ready to go on a ghost tour.
Correct.
We had a historical tour earlier, so I'm sure we're going to get some more claims.
And maybe even some of our own from tonight ourselves.
Yes, because after our ghost tour, we're going to do a little bit more investigating ourselves. And this whole time when we were doing this, I did have some equipment running here, but we haven't got anything yet. So we'll see what happens tonight. So kind of excited for it. But anyways, this ends this episode of the Haunted Spotlight.
Now, Shawn and Marianne, the room that you're staying in, what was the room number again?
We're in 410, and we're right down the room from...
Right down the hall from 3 other haunted rooms on this floor.
This whole floor is said to be very active because originally it was just an attic, and this is where the children came, and the nannies and those kind of people came up here while everyone else was downstairs partying. So this is the hallways where they hear the children running, and the cowboy is right down the hallway from us. But
and they also think that Lord Dunraven is here as well.
Yes.
So they think he's in 401.
Yeah.
That was going to be my question. I remember hearing about from different TV shows and different people who have stayed at the Stanley. The 4th floor seems to be very active, and especially with the sound of children laughing and playing and running. And
Yes, I'm hoping to hear lots of that tonight.
So far we haven't...
Or has it had any claims in just your room?
Nothing specific that we know of yet, but you never know. We're going on that tour. We're definitely going to ask.
Yeah, so the people who run the tour, they said basically there's stuff everywhere. You know, it's just not specific rooms. What we run over was like the most famous
The most popular
ones, but there's stuff that goes on everywhere, which kind of makes sense, the way this, you know, way the building's built and its location and you know, things like that.
And can I just say, I find the way that they number the rooms around here really strange. Like the one wing is the odd numbered rooms, and then the other wing is the even numbered rooms. And I was looking, I was like 407, 409, 411. Wait a minute, where's 410? I couldn't even find my room till I figured out what was going on with the numbering here.
Yeah. And you definitely get shocked when you use the elevator. Trust me, it's happened 3 times already. Holy cow.
A lot of static energy.
Floor?
What's that?
You're not building up static charge and rubbing your feet on the floor?
No, not on purpose, he is not.
Not on purpose.
But,
All right.
all right.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck. I mean, Ray, do you have any questions for Shawn and Marianne?
Well, how long have you been there? Did you just get there today?
Yes. We got here at about 1:30.
Yeah.
Which
something
would
like
be about, let's see, 12:30 Marie's time. And, so we're bouncing
3:30
back
Eastern
and forth between all
that.
these
Yeah,
time
it's
zones.
going to be fun when we get back to the Eastern Standard Time.
Especially with the time change in between too, it's really messing with our heads.
Yeah. But we've been out here to Denver since Wednesday night we flew out.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
Marianne had a conference out here, and we thought, okay, well, before we go back, it's only a 2-hour drive, so we rented a car and drove out here, and we drive back to Denver tomorrow and get our flight back to civilization and air.
Your pictures on Facebook, and I saw you guys eating at the aquarium with watching the fish.
Yeah,
Yes.
You guys were eating fish.
that was that. I tell you what, we've been to several different aquariums around the country when we travel and stuff. That is the only aquarium I've been to that they have fish on the menu. And I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. I'm ordering fish. And I asked them, I said, do you guys have t-shirts? I ate fish at the aquarium. I bought one. No, they don't. So they probably get that idea and it'll be, you know, big thing next year or something.
You won't get any credit.
No, not at all.
That's how it always works.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys have a whole time tonight, and enjoy yourselves, and watch out for those spooky ghosts out there.
Good luck. I hope you catch something.
For those who are listening to this, once we get back and we go through stuff, we'll be posting pictures, and I've been doing a video while we were here too, and so we'll get all that stuff posted up on our sites on Dark Shadow Ghost Tours or panicd.com.
Sounds good. You guys have a safe trip home, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks.
All right.
All right, thanks, and bye from the Stanley Hotel.
Almost made it to you, Marie.
Yeah, we're this close.
High five.
All right, talk to you later.
Good night, guys.
Night.
Night.
Okay, so like I said, that was a little bit out of order for the day.
Right.
We got there. I don't remember what time it was. I know we left Denver around 11:30, 12 o'clock. It was 2 hours to get up there. Of course, when we got there and figured out what was going on, we were so excited to be at the Stanley Hotel. It's like, let's just go and explore. So we did check in. We went up to our room to kind of check that out. Walked around a little bit inside, outside, out in the front, and we had a historical tour that was booked.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, we got a little tour ticket. Yep. Then we knew we had to do the haunted spotlight, so we planned on having a little break, and we lucked out while we were walking around. We actually booked a ghost tour for that night. You tried to book that online, and it was sold out,
Right.
but they had some openings, and we're like,
They
woohoo, ghost tour.
Yeah.
So here's what the day was. We hurried up, got out of Denver, checked out of our...
Okay, so we started the morning with...
She'll get it right, because...
We
it's a
started
year
the
ago.
morning
I
with
don't
me
remember
going
what I
and
had for
finishing my
breakfast.
conference.
Yeah.
Which was over at it was, I think it was over at noon. But then we would go. We got all checked out of the hotel
Had to rent
room,
a
go
car.
and rented the car, and then we drove up to Estes Park.
Right. We were going to spend the night at the Stanley, get up in the morning,
And
drive
fly.
back to the rental car, and take a taxi to the...
Airport,
fly home.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Hopefully, if
be
everything
busy.
went right.
It was going to be busy though.
Yeah, it was going to be busy.
But
Of course, they
you're
were
right
late paying
there.
the
How
rental
can you
car.
not take the
Yeah.
evening and go?
We're only a couple hours away. I don't know why we didn't do it when we were in Denver before. Never even thought about it. But, hey, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was my way to get him back out to Denver again because he said he'd never
I
go
said
back
I'll
to
never
Denver.
go again. Not after that breathing. No. So the day at Stanley, the plans were, and I'll go over it again. We'll check in, walk around, explore a little bit. We had a historical tour during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Then we knew we had to do the haunted spotlight, which was 6 o'clock their time and 8 o'clock this time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the ghost tour booked, and we realized during the ghost tour we didn't even eat. I was like, oops, forgot something. So luckily we did get
What's
into
more important?
we did get into the restaurant there right afterwards.
Yes.
But that tour during the day, this would be before the historical tour. We walked around and did some footage. So I'm going to show you that video now. This is a little bit longer video, but
It's just
pretty
us.
cool. It's just us, but you could see inside, you see our room, see through the hallways, outside. Very cool. So take a look at that video right now, and we'll be right back. Hey, Shawn and Marianne here, Dark Shadow Ghost Tours. Sorry, I'm holding the camera here, so this is kind of weird, but
There you go. That's
there we go.
better.
All right, so we just checked in here to the. Go ahead and tell them where we're at.
The Stanley Hotel
Yes.
Colorado.
We're on the 4th floor.
We are.
Marianne got us a room on the 4th floor, so it's going to be a pretty interesting evening because this is like supposedly one of the most haunted floors.
It is the most
hotels,
haunted floor.
all that stuff. So just wanted to kind of start out here. We'll check in here from time to time, keep adding to this video, and let you know what we find out here tonight. So it'll be kind of interesting. Here, I'll pan and show you guys our room. We just got here, so it's not all tore up yet.
But don't worry, Glenn made it.
Glenn made it. We have a little Stanley doll too, but did we leave him out in the car?
Yes, Glenn made a new friend. He got a Stanley Hotel version of himself that kind of visited.
So that was kind of cool. We got little red rum mugs and things. So here's the bat room. Turn the light on. The little bat room.
Is this your
That over there, I believe that's a closet over there. Yeah, there's a closet.
That it is. It's actually a really big closet.
Yeah, it's a walk-in.
The size of this closet. Wow.
So this is a pretty big place. We'll take this camera with us. We're going to go out and walk around a little bit, but we'll kind of show you the outside. It's a lot bigger than what I thought it was. I'll show you the courtyard here outside our room. I don't know if I can get a good shot. We'll go out there, show you the mountains and stuff. But kind of cool. So we'll be back here in a little bit. So Marianne just asked me, you think they'll know if these key cards are be missing? Well, we'll find out because they will be missing. We're taking these with us when we leave here tomorrow. This is kind of cool. This is going to go in our Panic D stuff. Panic D collection, but thought that was kind of funny. So they'll have to catch us in Ohio. So we just came out of our room here. This is the back of the hotel here. Kind of cool. They got the door open because yeah, it's really warm here for being in November. What is it? November 5th.
6th.
6th? Yeah, my watch is off there. You kind of see the mountains there. You're probably hearing the wind in the background, but it's still kind of it's a little bit of a cool breeze, but not too bad. Oh, now it's picking up. Alright, so here's a shot down the hallway.
They're still cleaning.
They're still cleaning up. We kind of got our room a little early.
Here's my room.
Oh, I passed the room. We're in room 410. So, yeah, that's our room. We got to find our way back to the elevator. Focus here a little bit. There we go. That was somebody there. One of the maids cleaning the room there. That's kind of cool picture. Let's see if we see anybody. Probably get some hallway shots later on. We have a tour at 4 o'clock, and then we have a radio show at 6. This time it'll be 8 o'clock Eastern, but after that we'll be walking around. I got a part of our package is kind of cool. We got a new K2 meter, so that's kind of cool. Although we did bring one with us, still, hey, they gave it to us, so man, taking pictures. All right, I'll show you guys the elevator because it was pretty neat. second. Here's the elevator. Yeah, this elevator is pretty cool. It's like all brass inside. Pretty neat. So I didn't get a shot of the lobby when we got off the elevator because there's like a lot of people here right now. There's a lot of people that come here to visit that's just not staying here. As you see, that's the whiskey bar and the restaurant right there. Pretty packed right now. Actually, we made reservations for breakfast for the morning, but here's the lobby. Let's go down here by the Stanley car. Woodwork's actually really cool. Zoomed out. Looks pretty neat. Marianne's taking pictures, of course. Shocker. Alright, so we got a couple rooms down here. We'll go check these out. There's the music room. This is the billiards room. So we can't get in here, it's roped off. Okay, so that's the lobby of the main hotel. There's 4 other buildings here. We're going to go outside here in a little bit. We'll show you other buildings, but it's a pretty big place. Okay, so we're out here on the front porch. Pretty gorgeous view. You see the little pine trees right here. They're trying to grow that hedge. Be interesting to come back in a few years, see if it's grown up. Front, the main entrance. So here it is, outside of the Stanley. Now, like I said, this is just one of 4 buildings?
4 buildings you can stay in.
That you stay in, okay. So there's one
Yes,
over
I believe it's
there.
60 acres left.
One that's right there in the center of the camera, or center of the shot. That's called the Lodge. We stopped there first because we thought that's where we were supposed to check in. We didn't even see the front of this one when we pulled in. I don't know what that's called. Probably find out later. And then there's a building on the other side over here too. over there. Let me see if I can get a shot of the carriage house from here. We saw it when we drove in. We drove right by it, but no, it's hidden behind those pine trees right there. That's a new complex they built across there. It kind of looks like the Stanley, but it's a newer place where you can stay. It's pretty beautiful here. The lake's a little dried up. They're having a drought here, somewhat of. Alright, let's see what else we can find. What's that?
So I didn't know that stupid movie's here. Dumb
So-
and Dumber.
Okay, so this is the front of the Stanley here. We came down a little bit. We were just talking about the movies that were filmed here. A lot of people think that the actual movie, The Shining, was filmed here. That's not true. That was filmed out in Oregon. But Stephen King stayed here
In room 217.
in room 217 and was inspired to write the movie.
To write the book.
To write the book, which they made into the movie. But
And then they filmed the Shining TV series part of it here.
yes, the remake. They did film the remake here, but not the actual original movie. But
They filmed-
other movies that was filmed here was Dumb and Dumber was actually filmed here, and that's what Marianne referred to it as the stupid
The
movie.
stupid movie.
But I tell you what, it's pretty. I was gonna keep on panning, but it'll be right into the sun over there. Pretty cool here. I can imagine what it's like in the dead of winter. Now Marianne's going to talk about this on the show, Haunted Spotlight, here in a few hours, that this hotel was actually built by Stanley due to health reasons, but it wasn't open in the winter. They just came out during the summertime, but really neat. Alright, so we're up on the second floor. You're not supposed to come up here unless you're hotel guests. And we are, so. There's the fire hoses. Okay, so we went down to 217. I think the last segment I was filming second floor, and there was somebody in there. I don't know if they were giving a tour or something. I don't know. So I didn't videotape that just in case somebody like freaked out and said, "Give me your camera," and you know, all that stuff, which wouldn't happen, and then I'd end up in jail and all that stuff. Let me see if we get there. We go. So Marianne got some pictures though.
Well, as much as I could from down the hall around the corner. I zoomed in and at least got the room number thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of like our pre-tour. I guess we're going to wrap that up now. We're going to go on the historical tour. Then we're going to do the
Radio show.
Do you want to just tell them?
No,
Finishing my sentences?
That's what we do though.
Yeah. Okay, and then we lucked out and kind of booked the ghost tour after the radio show. So that's going to be kind of cool. But unfortunately, we can't take a video camera with us, which sucks. So we can't take you with us. But maybe when we're done, we'll pop on camera and kind of tell you what we heard and what do you think? Because we have a tendency to forget things. At least I do.
Right.
But anyways, okay, so we're going to sign off for now, and maybe we'll pop back on later. So, see ya. There's Marianne back there. There we go.
Oh, that's a better view. You should have used that view the whole
see,
time.
That's like making my arm like... I need like a... This
You need an
camera's kind of heavy.
extender.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Okay, so we had a pretty interesting evening.
Yes,
We did the ghost tour and got to go to the, I want to say ballroom. It's not the ballroom.
The concert hall.
Concert hall. They used to call it the casino. We went down in the basement, and we went down in the tunnel area. Didn't really get much anything on the tour, except for maybe a couple little blips on the K2 meter. We got down in the basement of the concert hall. So that was pretty much it. We were gonna come up to the room and chill out and maybe do an EVP session or here and there, that kind of stuff. And
We hadn't brought in our
yeah,
luggage
we
yet.
didn't bring in our luggage yet, so we started back out to the car, and one of the rooms here on the 4th floor is 401, and it's right next to the elevator. So we were getting ready to go to the elevator, and Marianne goes push the button, and she gets shocked.
Yeah.
So it's not just me.
No, I've gotten shocked now twice.
Yeah. And the girls staying in that room were going into the room, and they saw we had our shirts on.
Yeah.
So they asked if we would come in and check out the closet for them, because that's one of the claims is something comes out of the closet and
Touches you and
So,
gropes you.
yeah.
And they were a little nervous about staying the night in there.
So of course Marianne's like, "Oh yeah, no problem."
I'm
She
like,
goes and locks
I'm
herself
so
in the
excited.
closet.
I was so excited to get to go in there. They were like so excited because somebody would come in the room.
It was pretty cool though. What was their names? Do you remember their names?
To be honest, I don't, but they're gonna text message
Yeah,
me.
they're gonna text message us. So yeah, they were kind of excited that we went in and
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was
like
awesome.
debunked the claims and kind of told them they're okay for the night. And actually, we gave them a Glendale.
Yes. And then we told them, hey, if things get too rough, we're in 410. Come knock on the door, we'll switch with ya.
One thing that was kind of interesting too about that room was the one girl. She was kind of had some reservations about a chair sitting in the corner. It was different than the chair we're sitting in.
Right.
So I really don't like that chair. So I asked Marianne to run down and get the K2 meter, and I was just going to check it out and see if there's anything on it. Normally if there's like a attachment type spirit or something on an object, the K2 meter will pick it up. So I'm going over the chair, and typically nothing until I hit the one arm of the chair. It was the left arm of the chair, and the K2 meter did pick up along that arm, and there was nothing else there. No, I debunked there was no electrical or anything, and it was that arm that was picking something up. So could be either the chair or the wood that the chair is made out of might have had something.
Yeah. But I
So-
didn't feel anything in the closet.
No, but the obelisk, she grabbed the obelisk picked up
The
some
obelisk
words.
was talking. The obelisk said a whole bunch of things,
Let
actually.
me see if I can go back.
The last thing it said
Was scruple,
was scruple.
hell, and rent. Let me see if
And
I can
it
find
also
the log.
had said rate. I remember that.
That's not cooperating on us now.
Of course not. Why would it want to do that? But I found it interesting that he said scruple because the guy who's supposed to haunt that was actually very unscrupulous, and he tried to, get the money off of all the locals, steal their land and things like that from them. So
Intern products rate. Blog,
blog, yeah. I heard
rent,
about that one.
hell, scruple. And that's the only thing that this has picked up
The entire time we
the
were
entire
there.
time. Now we got another story for you.
Yeah, it gets better now.
It gets better. So we were talking with them, taking pictures and that kind of stuff, and then two other couples came up because the
Right.
door was open. They're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing in there?"
Yeah.
And the one couple wanted us to come down to their room and kind of check it out because the claims in that room, which was room 413, was that people get strangled in that room. And I think the story he said was something about two girls were down in the bar
Getting drunk.
getting drunk and told the bartender if he rented the room, they would have a
Threesome.
they would have a threesome night with them or something. And somehow they got strangled or whatever and ran out or something like that. I don't know.
Blamed the guy.
Yeah.
They didn't see the guy, but they blamed him for it.
Yeah. So they got strangled by a spirit and ran out. So
Right.
we did an EVP session in that room. I don't think the Obelisk picked anything up.
The Obelisk did not pick up anything.
K2 meter did nothing. But we did catch an EVP. Didn't we?
We did.
So I was asking, standard questions. One of the questions I asked is this your favorite room? And the EVP said something like, no. Which was quite interesting. I didn't listen to the whole session yet. I didn't put it on the computer yet. I have my mega headphones.
When we were first listening to it, you thought it said something else. But the guy who's staying in the room, he listened to it too, and he's pretty bound and determined that the EVP says no. Yeah. So I really want to get back home and get that on the computer and listen to it, see what it says. But we did catch an EVP. Yes.
Is this your favorite room? Is this your favorite room?
Unfortunately, I didn't have an EVP recorder in the closet with me because I wasn't planning on doing anything.
We were going to get our luggage and trying to chill out a little
bit. It was really funny because I was in there and I was talking like it was an EVP, but I wasn't holding a recorder.
I said, do you have a recorder? Because she's carrying on a conversation.
And the girls the girls were in the room with you, and they're like, is she having a conversation?
Yeah, she does that.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's kind of, we got some stuff.
Yeah,
tonight.
And the third couple that was there,
they're staying in
217, and they let me and some of the other people in their room earlier tonight.
You got pictures in there?
I did get some pictures in there. They were real nice and let us in there too, which was awesome. So altogether, everybody on the 4th floor, they are team players.
That's right. Okay, so I think we're going to kind of chill out a little bit. We have to get up really early in the morning. I don't even know what time it is. This clock's wrong. That clock says something right now.
I know, every clock is wrong.
We've been going strong since early this morning. It's 11:30 already.
I got up at 5 this morning.
Yeah, so I don't know if we're going to try an EVP session here after we chill out or if we're just going to pass out, which normally happens. But so that's pretty much it for us from the Stanley Hotel. Highly recommend it. The tours were great. They were, we didn't get stuff on the tours, but there was a lot of newbies, so to speak.
Yes.
The tour guide actually said, hey, if you guys want to go down there and do, normally we'd be like all over it, but we're a little whipped.
Yeah.
So, anyways, you have anything else?
Not at this time, but hopefully later.
Yeah. I wanted to make this video because normally we forget half this stuff, but yeah, kind of cool.
Yeah.
Stanley Hotel, Estes Park, California, or Colorado.
The people were from California.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So this is Shawn and
Marianne.
Hey.
From the Stanley Hotel.
Okay, so in that last video, we kind of gave you a wrap up and everything that went on during that ghost tour and, well, after the ghost tour, which was way more
exciting.
That EVP, I laid the EVP, when I was talking about the EVP, I broke up the video and I actually put the EVP that we caught we heard that there in the room. We played it back. We normally don't do that. We've only done that actually literally 2 or 3 times. The other time that I did it, and we haven't done a show on this yet, was the Lizzie Borden house, but that was kind of like the last time I was going to do this, but I normally don't play back those EVPs right there just to see if we get anything. Normally, like when we go out, especially with our group from Dark Shadow Ghost Tours and Divine Paranormal, when we go out, we have an SB7 or we have a novice or something like that. But when we travel, it's kind of hard to use those things, especially if you're staying in a hotel. You can't be using an SB7. It's just too noisy.
Right.
So when we were doing the EVP with that couple, and I was like, let's just see if we caught anything. And I played it back, and I heard that, and I'm like, yeah, we got something. So
yeah. Plus, the girl was kind of a little bit
she was a little
nervous,
jumpy.
So it kind of helped her.
Borderline. I'm ready.
I don't want to leave. I don't want to stay in the room.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, normally what we do is we bring our recordings back and we kind of go over them, go over the photos, go over video and that kind of stuff. And I have to confess, we have literally more than hours. We have months of information that we still need to go over. However, we did go over all our stuff with the Stanley Hotel, and that's what we're doing now. Why we're putting out our haunted travels is as we start to go over this stuff, we want to document it and put it out there. And we hope you guys enjoy the channel and as much as we do, because we have fun with it. But I do have some photos that I want to show you of some of the things that we caught. Now, normally we kind of like take orbs. Most paranormal investigators, they just discount orbs. These ones that I'm going to show you, I know for a fact there was nothing wrong with the lens. There wasn't lens flare, and it was dark. Right? When we were in the concert hall,
Yes.
pitch black dark. So I'm going to try this right now. I'm going to try to transition over and show you this one picture. Now this picture, let me set it up a little bit. We were in the concert hall, and they were performing some sort of test using pencils.
Yes.
You probably saw pictures of that. They were explain that, what they were doing. They were using pencils as dowsing rods.
Right.
Yeah, so
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
You pretty much just said it.
that's pretty much it. And we kind of discount a little bit because that's in control of
the individuals
using
who are
it.
holding it. Yeah.
But notice, like, right under my nose, if you look down there, you see that orb right there? That was a little interesting. But I noticed at that time when I was getting that orb, that now my phone, you see my phone, it's in my pocket there. I set my phone to airplane mode too. In most cases I shut it off, so because that'll set off the K2 meter, especially if you're getting a notification or a text or something like that. But while they were doing the session and they were calling out names and calling out the Stanleys and things like that, that K2 meter started going off, and that made me stand up and like, whoa, something's going on here. And when I went back and looked at those pictures and saw that orb, I'm like, wow, this is kind of interesting. All right, we got some more here for you.
Yes, and I believe this is also going to be right there in the concert hall as well.
Yeah.
So we were in the balcony.
Yeah.
And so over the balcony are the next few shots.
Yeah. Now, what I do, Marianne does it too. This is why sometimes we get, I don't want to say thousands, but hundreds of photos from locations. Is when we take photos, we try to take 3 or more photos in the same location, same camera angle, and that kind of thing. And this way we can tell easier if it's camera flare or something like that. Now in these next 3 photos I'm going to show you, you're actually going to see I was standing in the same location on up in that balcony shooting down. Now it's pitch black. I mean, there was no lights on. Really, the only thing you could see was that green light that was on over the door. You could see that. But if you look on the stage, you can see some orbs up there on the stage. Okay? There's no lens flare. And I'm going to show you a succession of photos here. Maybe. Here's another one that was taken, what would you think, maybe 4 seconds after the first one. And you can see where those orbs have moved. You see now it's down behind those chairs. I mean, look at that one right in the middle, the first row on the right. There's a real bright one right there on that chair.
And that
And
colored
then,
one a little further over
Yeah.
to the right. There's
And-
one like on the right in front of the stage.
and I believe at this time he's talking about spirits and stuff that they see on the stage and in the first row, and I actually caught that. Now here's another picture and they're gone.
But you can see that it's actually
They've
all the
moved.
way across,
Yeah.
and it's large like that. The initial one that was on the stage, right by the first window there.
Yeah, so let me go back to the first. So there's the first one. About 8 seconds later, there's the second one. And then, boom, third one. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, was there something there? Don't know, but we couldn't throw that one out as not being some kind of evidence. I mean, it's hard to explain. I mean, we went over that. We looked at those windows. If you're seeing something that we don't see, please leave it in the comments. Absolutely, that's why we're posting this stuff out on YouTube. If you see something a little different, but I'm very meticulous when I go over these photos because I know there's some questions sometimes. So the next photo that we have, now you could tell from this one. Number one, I need to lose some weight, but number two, okay, so we're down in the basement, and if you've researched the Stanley on YouTube or other websites and stuff like that, there is that video out there where they caught that little child down there. But look at the limestone. That's what that building's built on right there. But right above that rock, you can see a bright little light. There's nothing down there, folks. There's no pipes. There's nothing there. And that's just a little blurb. I mean, there was nothing on the camera. But, and that's looks like it has a little bit of light coming from it, too. So, that one there is interesting. Again, we couldn't throw it out because it's paranormal. We couldn't explain it.
And a lot of people will say, well, you know, it was dusty and dirty down there. Why is that the only one?
Yeah.
And why is it so bright?
Right. Now this one, you got to look kind of close, and I hope it shows up in the video. If not, we also have these on as stills, actually on Panic D. But if you look right in the middle, like in the darkness, Marianne's kind of struggling right now to look at it.
Yeah, I can't tell with the
But
angle of our
when you blow
light.
that picture up, you can actually see an orb in the darkness shooting down that hallway. So that one's a little bit harder to see. I don't know if it's going to come out in the video or not, but like I said, it is on Panic D. And I think, okay, now that EVP that was in that last video, this is the room that we did that EVP in.
Right.
Now, the claims are, what were they? Two girls on the bed, you know, getting a little bit barrel with the
guy from
with the
down in
bartender,
the bar. Yeah.
and they said they got strangled. So, as we were doing that EVP session, we were talking about that a little bit, and the girl that was staying in the room that night was worried about getting strangled and stuff. But look right in the middle of the bed, folks. Kind of interesting. There's an orb right in the middle of that bed, and this is that room. You were snapping off pictures while we were doing the EVP session.
Yes.
So again, we could not throw that out. A lot of photos we throw out because we say, okay, could have been glare off the table, could have been glare off of this, glare off of that, or dust. A lot of dust. We get a lot of dust photos, that kind of thing. Now, do you want to talk about this? Do you remember the story?
That was in the parlor.
Yes. So in that first video that I showed you when we were doing the walk around, there was a room that we went into, and over top of the door said billiard room. That was not the billiard room. That was actually the bar that led into the billiard room,
right.
And that's where the men would hang out. No women were allowed in that room.
Yeah, so this was actually a flag that was donated to them by a military member of a family.
Yeah,
who was involved.
No, he recently visited. I mean, it hasn't been there that long.
Right, but it was him or his family that donated
somehow
it.
His descendants were either related to Stanleys or something like that. I think that's what it was. I'm going to flip back to us just for a second, then I'll come back to it. But okay, Stanley Hotel was built because basically Mr. Stanley had tuberculosis. They called it consumption back then, and he was dying. So his doctor told him to go out up in there, you know, basically where I can't breathe, but
and it would be good for him.
It would be good for him. It would help heal, so to speak. So that's why he was It prolonged his life
Right.
living out there.
Right.
And they built the Stanley Hotel. So
Well,
this
they
military...
built they had their house there.
Yeah, they had another house. The
But
Stanley
they
Hotel
needed-
was actually their guest house.
Right, they needed some place for their guests to stay when they
Right.
came to visit, and so that's why the hotel was actually built. It was their guest house.
So he would write all of his friends, and if you
Nice
don't,
guest house, right?
if you don't know the history of the Stanleys, I mean, Marianne went over it a little bit, but they made all their money with film development. Actually, they sold it to Eastman Kodak. But anyways, all of his friends and stuff, very wealthy friends or well-known celebrities. He would write to them and say, "I am feeling great. You got to come out here and experience this," and that kind of stuff, which brought a lot of visitors out to them, and that's why they built the Stanley Hotel. That was a guest house. All right. So, anyways, fast forward a little bit. Okay. There was a gentleman who was in the military, and he was having health issues. And he heard about the Stanley, and he went out there and visited and stayed there and so on and so forth. It made him feel so much better that when he came back again, he donated this flag to the Stanley Hotel, which they framed and hung above the mantle.
Mm-hmm.
The Stanleys were great friends with, I'm trying to think of the guy's name that wrote the Star Spangled Banner.
Francis Scott Key.
Francis Scott Key, that's right. So when he heard the story about Francis Scott Key and Mrs. Stanley's piano, he was, patriotic about that. And that's why that he wanted to donate the flag. So, but here's the story behind that flag. If you look real close up in the top right-hand position of that picture, you could see a face starting to come through on that flag. I wish I could take the mouse and point at it. I am on the computer, but
So
I
if
can't
you
on the
see-
picture.
If you see the reflection from the ceiling beam, right there in the center, it's nice and that bright white shining spot. If you go over to the right, about halfway between that and the edge of
I
the
think
flag.
it's the right. It might be to the left. I don't know. Things are kind of reversed.
Oh, are things reversed when we're recording? Okay, so like on
guess if
the
you're
red
looking at
and white
flag,
stripes.
yes, it would be
So-
to the right.
It may be backwards. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You can start to see those eyes there, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, is there a face really starting
You
to show
could see
through there?"
2 eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and something with a long beard. They say that is the likeness of Mr. Stanley. He's starting to come through on that flag. And this gentleman that donated this flag has come back every year to the Stanley. And every time he comes back, that face is starting to come out more and more and more. It almost looks like it's bleached onto there somewhat. So that was that's pretty cool right there. All right, I'll get my mouse back. Okay. So, all right. That's it for our evidence pictures. And we have all those pictures. If they didn't come out on the video, they should. But if they didn't, you can go to Panic D, bring up location 1032, which is the Stanley Hotel. Or just go ahead and search for the Stanley Hotel under search. Bring it up, go down into the evidence section and expand those. And the actual photos are actually in the database. So, great location. I loved it. All these locations that we go to are great. I'm going to say that every time, but
I'm going to say that at this location, I felt really bad because we only were able to spend one day there.
Yeah.
And we did so much. We packed so much in. We'd gotten up so early that morning, drove all the way there. We needed to make sure that we got up early in the morning so that we can drive back to town and get our flight back to Ohio. That I just felt like we really didn't experience it enough, and I felt bad that literally we were so tired we didn't even want to go investigate.
Yeah, and we were offered by the security guard to go back down to that music hall, and he said just go on in.
And then we were too tired
Nobody's
to do it.
going to mess with you because the security guard's like too afraid to go down there, so he's not going to mess with you anyways. Normally we'd be like, "What? We're there," but yeah.
So that's the one thing that I feel bad about. I would like to go
nice
back
to go
and spend
back,
a
have
couple
more
days
time.
in a row so that we're not so exhausted.
I think we would have got more stuff. So maybe there'll be a part 2 someday. We don't know. Maybe we'll make it back out there again.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see. But, before I wrap it up, do you have anything else?
Of course I do.
Oh, dumb question.
So you showed off, your Stanley tour sticker and your, room key. Well, I have, when we went, I booked us the 4th floor room. So, of course, we got Glenn's cousin, the Stanley ghost.
You want me to switch you to the other camera? Or are you
No,
okay?
we're good. I'm good. So we got the Stanley ghost to go with Glenn. So now he hangs out with Glenn. And we got these mugs that say the Stanley Hotel on one side and the other side says Red Rum. So these are our Stanley Hotel mugs. And
we haven't used them, but they're keepsakes.
Right. And they gave us a K2 meter.
Yeah.
A nice brand new K2 meter. Whee! For that night. But they, of course, have gift shop.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course they have a gift shop, So in the gift shop, I did purchase a few things, spent way too much money in the gift shop because I wanted the things.
Right.
But they
we
have...
bought some DVDs, too, in the
they have...
for our library. But.
They have fake room keys for, of course, room 401, the famous room 401 that I played in the closet.
Yeah. With no recorder.
With no recorder. And, of course, they had the famous 217, which is, of course, the room where Stephen King got his inspiration for writing his famed novel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so they also have in the gift shop room 217 room numbers. And they said that they actually started doing these and selling them in the gift shop because people kept on stealing it off the door. So people kept on going up to room 217 and prying it off the door. They're like, well, maybe we just sell some of those and then we'll make a lot more. So they did. And you can buy your very own for $15. Yeah, I paid $15 for a fake room number for the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, wow.
Don't tell my husband I spent $15 on a fake room number. But anyway, oops, wait, he's right here. So I did get those things. And of course, I got, my Stanley Hotel patch and Stanley Hotel pin. All the things that are, you just need to have.
Which here's another thing I'm going to throw out there. If you're watching our YouTube video and you get to this point and haven't shut it off, we're starting to collect a lot of this stuff like that. This is just stuff from the Stanley. We have them from other locations too. See that brick back there? That's actually from another location. But we're starting to collect this stuff and we're putting it into somewhat of a library. We have books and all kinds of stuff like that. But if you have any suggestions on how we can make like shadow boxes or something like that, leave them in the comments below. We're open to anything because
don't tell
starting
anybody.
to run out of room.
But don't tell anybody. But I also took a little bit of dirt from the parking lot.
Oh well, yeah, it happens. Do you have anything else, my darling?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, so. If you stuck with us this long, thank you very much for watching, and until next time.
Thanks for watching.
If you like this video and like to see more in the future, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and give us a like below. Also, if you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching this episode of Our Haunted Travels.